channel, and welcome especially if you are new here. I have not done a physical TBR, what's on my physical TBR, for a very long time. The last one was 3 years ago. Things have definitely changed. So let's give a little bit of a recap. 3 years ago when I did the what's on my physical TBR, I had 110 books on my shelf that were unread, which for me, I don't ever complain. Like, I never stop and think about the number of books that are on my shelf. Yes, is 110 high? Absolutely, but it never really bothered me until a little bit later. And 3 years later, I went from 110 books to 36 books on my physical TBR. Yes, as of today, there are only 36 books on my physical TBR. I don't own a Kindle. There's no digital books that I have. This is it. So before we get into the 36 books that are on my physical TBR, let's just quickly talk about how was I able to take 110 books and bring it down to 36 books. The easiest thing is number one, I read what was on my physical TBR. Easiest answer that I can give. The one thing that still kind of kept getting in the way was how I bookshopped. At one point in time, I was buying way more books in a year than what I was physically reading in a year. So the second thing I did was I curtailed how I bookshopped. And this has been something that I've shown quite a few times in my past few videos. There are some rules I kind of put around myself where, one, I don't buy every single book anymore that releases in a year. Instead, what I do is I make a book wish list of all the books that really excite me or sound interesting to me in the year that is coming. And then from there, I dedicate 3 to 4 book shopping days where I will then look over that list and pretty much read the synopsises again. And let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, the books that are on my book wish list no longer interest me. And so instead of going to the bookstore and buying like 10 to 20 books, I am now buying maybe 3 to 5 books that really interest me. And the third thing that I did that brought me from 110 books down to 36 books on my physical TBR is I do a bookshelf audit at least once to twice a year, where I will go through my bookshelves, I will look at the books that I've read as well as the books that I've unread, and I will unhaul the books that no longer bring me interest. So those are the 3 things that I pretty much did to bring down my TBR. So let's get into the 36 books that are on my physical TBR. Now, I want to put a disclaimer out here. It does not matter how many books that are on your physical TBR. 5, 10, 100, 200. At the end of the day, your bookshelves are a reflection of you. So if having 100 books on your physical TBR makes you happy, then have 100 books on your physical TBR. So with that little disclaimer aside, let's get into the 36 books that are on my physical TBR. So starting off right here, we have The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. This is by Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book in the Nixia, technically duology, but it's a Nixia universe. Really enjoyed the first book, but haven't really gotten around to reading the second book. Then the next 2 that we have is the Dragon Republic and the Burning God. I can't remember which way. This is the second and third book to the Poppy War trilogy. I read the first book a really long time ago. I think when it first came out. I do think I need to reread it, or at least quickly reread through it to catch a few of the things that I don't remember, but I would really like to finish out this trilogy, maybe hopefully this year. Then we have The City of Brass. This is by S.A. Chakraborty. I read this when it first came out, and here's the thing. I want to reread it because when I first read it, I had a very particular, my reading taste was very different. 5 to 10 years ago, all I could think about is there romance in my fantasy? If not, I want nothing to do with it. And this is definitely more of a political intrigue. However, I do feel like if I give it a second chance, I'm going to really enjoy it because my reading tastes have changed drastically. I'm still keeping it on my physical TBR to give it a second chance. Then another R.F. Kuang, we have Babel or Babel. This is a academia fantasy. I read Calabasas at the beginning of this year. I enjoyed it for the most part, but I have heard that Babel or Babel is a lot more interesting. Another high fantasy here, this is The Five Broken Blades. This is by Mai Corland. I've heard some wonderful things about this trilogy. Still on my list. Then the next 2 we have is The Empire Damned and Empire of the Dawn. This is by Jay Kristoff. This is the second and third book to the Empire of the Vampire trilogy. I don't have much to say besides this is like, if you want like the original vampires and you want the dark, gory vampires with a very dark gothic world, here you go. I need to get to the rest of these. Then of course, we have Onyx and Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I have been putting this one off, and the reason why is I tend to do this thing where I won't read like the latest release until we get to the closer to the next release. But the problem is we have no idea when book 4 is coming out. We do have a novella coming. Maybe I'll get to it soon. I don't know. Then we have these 3 books here. So this one I'm excited about. The This is The Night Ends with Fire. This is by KX Song. This is a Mulan fantasy. I'm a huge fan of Mulan. I absolutely love the Disney movie Mulan, not the live action. Wasn't a fan of the live action. This one is as exciting. It's also a very pretty edition. Then we have a YA fantasy. This is Blood of Troy and then Storm of Olympus. This is the second and third book in the Daughter of Sparta. It says it right there, Daughter of Sparta trilogy. This is your very classic YA romantasy that is a Greek mythology retelling. I love, and I've said it many times, anything to do with ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and ancient Egypt. Moving on to the second shelf here, we have Jade City. This is by Fonda Lee. This one I got this year. This is pretty much an urban fantasy surrounding The Godfather. Say no more. This is one of those series that I'm very much so behind with. There's so many big fantasy series that a lot of big fantasy readers have already read, and I'm just getting to them. The next one is the same thing. I'm just trying to catch up with a lot of these big fantasy series. This is The Assassin's Apprentice. This is book one in the Farseer trilogy. This is part of a bigger universe. I think there's like 18 books in this universe, and they all contain almost the same characters. I think it's the Elderling. I've heard that the Farseer trilogy is the best trilogy to enter with, and I've heard amazing things about the characters. I am continuing with my Brandon Sanderson journey. This is Warbreaker. This is a standalone, however, it exists in the Cosmere universe. I do want to get to this one because I do want to also get into the Stormlight archive. Then we have this very interesting romantasy. This is The Shrouded Queen. This is by Ashley Tropea. This is a Norse mythology, ancient Egypt mythology romantasy. Very interesting to see how we're going to combine these very two different cultures. Another new one, we have Dearly Departed by Chip Pons. This is a Hades mythology, Hades inspired, with queer characters. Even better. Another new one that is on my shelf, this is A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexander Rowland. This is another queer romantasy, but what is so interesting to me is that in this world, princes can touch, taste precious metals with their fingers, and apparently they're able to see things. Of course, we have Adversary to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, the fourth book to the assistant to the villain. I just got it. I'm gonna probably read it very soon. This one I'm very excited about. This was one that was recommended to me and I talked about it in my last video. The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I hadn't heard of this, but this is apparently your original cozy fantasy. This was written in 1968. It has a new introduction. This I've heard amazing things about, and all of a sudden I was hearing it everywhere. I am now very intrigued as to see what this book is about. Another new one that's on my shelf is Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt. This is by Ben Reeves. This is a very popular book. So popular, in fact, that when I went to Barnes & Noble, they had none in stock, and they were all back ordered, and they had no idea when they were gonna get them. Amazon, it was only showing like 5 or 6 left in their stock, and then my actual local bookstore had only 1 copy left, and she said that there was a ton of back orders on them, and they had no idea when they were gonna get it. So I'm very intrigued to see if I'm going to enjoy it as well. This is another romantasy. I don't know if it's gonna stay on my physical TBR. I have tried picking this book up multiple times, and I've only in those 3 or 4 times have made it to page 38. I love Freya Marsk. I love her queer normative worlds. This is just not capturing me. I was like thinking I could get to it again, but I'm still not sure. Here we have a standalone fantasy. This is The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. You have like this heist situation. You have a bunch of people coming together, banding together, and trying to overthrow, but in this case they're overthrowing a dragon. Now then, moving down to our last shelf down here. Continuing with obviously some fantasy. This one I'm very still excited about. I got it. Don't know if I got it when it released, but I did get it, I think a few years ago, and it is The Spear Cuts Through Water. This is by Simone Jimenez. Takes place in like almost a Mayan Aztec culture, which is part of my own family's history and culture, and so I don't have a lot of books, or I've never really seen a lot of books that pertain around Mayan or Aztec history. This is one that I also got, and I've heard some really great things about it. I haven't got around to it, but it's Piranesi by Susanna Clark. This apparently is a little bit of a mind bender book. If you haven't realized by now, I'm a huge fan of Greek mythology or any type of ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Egypt world. We have Stone Blind by Natalie Hayes. I really love Natalie Hayes' writing. She likes to take these Greek mythologies that portray women in a very dark light and show it from their perspective and give them a voice. Another fantasy book here we have is The Bone Shard Daughter. This is by Andrea Stewart. This one I got a long time ago. I've been meaning to get around to it. I still want to get around to it. This chunker of a book is the prequel to one of my favorite, my all-time favorite books, which is The Priory of the Orange Tree. We have A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. It's a chunker. you can see why that I've been putting it off for some time. Finally, moving into the last few books that we have here, they are not fantasy. We are finally moving away from fantasy. As you can have seen, most of the books on my physical TBR are fantasy. We have Lady Tan's Circle of Women. This is by Lisa C. This is a, not biography, I wouldn't say it's a biography, but it is telling the story of a woman that actually existed in China and the medicine that she used to treat women. And in fact, from my understanding, some of the treatments that she used is still used today, which is very interesting to me. Then the rest of the books I have here are classics that I've been meaning to get to. Technically, this isn't a classic, but it is very popular, and it is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I will say this, if I do not get to this year, I'm going to be unhauling it. It's on my shelf. It's been on my shelf for like 4 or 5 years now. I've heard amazing things about it, but I just keep putting it off, and I don't know why. Now the rest are classics. So the first one we have here is Fortnite 451. This is by Ray Bradbury. One that I do want to read. Obviously, it's very prevalent to today in the control of media and books and book banning and everything. The next one is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I feel like this is one that I should have also read in university or secondary school. Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray. Perfect for the fall season, so maybe I'll get to it this fall. Then my second to the last one here is another Greek mythology, and that is Euripides, Medea, and Other Plays. And then finally here we have the last book on my physical TBR. It is one that I've started. I have not finished it because I think I'm struggling with her writing a little bit, and that is Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. I have wanted to read this. It's taken me a little bit. I'm only 70 pages in still. I'm just feeling like the story is boring. Like, maybe I'm just not a romance reader. Like, this is the original romance, and I'm not enjoying the romance. Like, I could care less. But we are still going to prevail. I'm still going to try to finish it. I at least want to read one Jane Austen in my lifetime. And if this is the only one, then this is going to be the only one. And there you have it. There are all the 36 books on my physical TBR. I'm hoping to obviously get the 36 books down. I really want to finish out some series, quite a few series. Once I have those series out, I'm able to then start new ones that I really want. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. In the comments below, let me know any book that you're really excited about that's still on your physical TBR, or if there's any books that you saw on my physical TBR that you definitely think I need to pick up right away. Please let me know, and also make sure if you like this video, you like Read With Me videos or reading vlogs, to subscribe to my channel. I will see you in my next video. Bye!